Welcome to the very first edition of the 2015 SABC Digital News Tech Wrap. I'm Matiba Mutewana. This week we'll look at 2015 tech predictions. Facebook is looking for employees in South Africa. And chat service WhatsApp is now available on desktops. Now, at the beginning of every year, tech gurus around the world let us in on what to expect in the tech world for the year ahead. This week, we spoke to two analysts who let us in on what to expect for 2015. Take a look. 2015 is expected to be the year of expansion for technology. Experts from different fields predict a mixed bag of expectations. According to Deloitte's Technology, Media and Telecommunications predictions for 2015, 1 billion smartphones are expected to enter the market worldwide in 2015, and this will be purchased as upgrades.
This year perhaps there's more of a shift from consumer type predictions to the enterprise. Very interesting. Less exciting for the average man on the street, but very exciting for the industry as a whole. I think some of the standout items for me this year would be around smartphones and the upgrades to smartphones. In South Africa, so our own market, and even across the continent, in 2014, I think in around April time, was the first year where smartphone sales exceeded feature phones. And that trend is never going to change. It's going to actually increase and across the continent of Africa. So this prediction is quite important for us here locally as well as globally.
Talk about the availability of free Wi-Fi to South African citizens dominated the tech scene in 2014. Social and tech experts started referring to Wi-Fi or access to the internet as a basic human need, much like water and sanitation. Though government and business acknowledge the need for free, publicly available Wi-Fi, this will only remain an aspiration in 2015 for most South Africans and the rest of Africa. J.J. Milner, Chief Cloud Architect at Global Micro, says the availability of free Wi-Fi is essential to South Africa, as more essential services are now available online.
The free Wi-Fi is interesting, especially in the South African context, because access to bandwidth and connectivity is a form of disintermediation. And if you think about our history, where maybe access to education was seen as a disintermediator, being a digital native and being part of e-government or a modern economy, not having access to Wi-Fi, not being able to check your mail, not being able to maybe apply for your driver's license, or let alone things like study online or do some of the more take things to the next step.
In theory, drones have many benefits to consumers and business, but this does not necessarily translate to reality.
We don't see drones growing. There is the novelty factor, and people say, oh, this is great, we can use it to transfer, like in this country with e-commerce, how do you deliver? Where's your distribution system? Maybe we can use drones. Medical supplies being delivered to remote areas, maybe we use drones. And at the surface, it sounds like a great idea. When you get into the detail and you look at the devices and you look at how much they cost when they've got to carry certain weight, and you look at the battery lives and you look at the difficulties of flying these things and you look at the regulations, there's been some near misses reported with aircraft. You're starting to get into a world where as these things start to get used a little bit more, there's a lot more exposure and issues been spotted with their use. Even delivering to people's home. Just imagine the situation where a drone appears, outside your front door, and these things have got rotators or propellers rotating at high speed. This could be quite dangerous. What happens if you deliver and the person isn't there? What do you do to collect items, sign for items, and so on? A lot of complexities with drones. So it's still very much a novelty factor. They're still not really capable of delivering the, to the purpose that people would hope, which was, mass distribution delivery, the sky is full of like mosquito type drones. I don't think we're ever going to be in that space.
Chat service WhatsApp is now available on desktops. The chat service, now owned by Facebook, announced this week that users can now use the service on desktops through web clients. For now, the desktop version of WhatsApp will only work on Google Chrome web browser. The desktop version is unfortunately not available for Apple users for now. This, according to the company, is because of Apple platform limitations. The desktop version, however, will still be linked to people's cell phones. Users will have to use the QR code from the latest version of WhatsApp on their phones to link to the desktop version. Now, if you've ever dreamt of working for Facebook and you live in South Africa, this is for you. Facebook has posted an ad for a South African employee on LinkedIn, and they're looking for someone who will work in the Johannesburg offices. Facebook advertised a position for, quote, a highly quantitative, driven and creative measurement lead to work within our marketing science regional measurement team to support its advertising business in South Africa and wider African market. According to Reuters, Facebook aims to add 1,200 employees in the coming year to expand its global footprint. Hopefully, this is a sign that more global companies will be setting up in Joburg soon. Now, this happens to a lot of us. You buy a whole lot of data on your smartphone or your cell phone, but you just don't use it quickly enough before it expires. Well, there's good news. MTN this week announced a new bundle service which allows subscribers to share their data. This provider this week rolled out what it calls sharing package. This new package enables MTN subscribers to send unused data bundles to up to 20 MTN numbers. The shared data, however, will expire on the set date. It just means you can now share it with other people instead of losing it. Now, let's hope other service providers will follow suit and do the same. Now, this is what's happening in the rumor mill in case you have missed it. Samsung apparently offered 7.5 billion rands to acquire BlackBerry, according to a source close to the parties. This is according to reports by Reuters this week. The source asked not to be mentioned or named because the meetings happened in a private setting. But Samsung came back to say that this is all just rumors and there are no transactions that are going to happen anytime soon. Let's just watch the space and see what happens. Now to take a look at the social media scene in South Africa. If you live in Africa, you'll know that AFCON tournament, which is the football tournament, started last week, and South Africa played against Algeria earlier this week. That went right to the top of the list on trending topics on social media, especially Twitter. Ranty went right at the top after he missed a penalty shot. And this was followed by many memes, as well as jokes and a lot of disappointment for both Ranty and Kit, the goalkeeper, who let a few goals in during the match. Also trending on social media was hashtag Windows 10 this week. This is after Microsoft announced its latest operating system, which is, well, Windows 10. Many hashtag Windows 10 comments came with much optimism about the latest Microsoft operating system this year. That's it from us this week. Join us again next week for the latest and biggest tech stories doing the rounds in South Africa and around the world.